Hello everybody, this is White Wolf. How's everybody doing? And feel free to share out, and also feel free to just tune in. We're going to have a meditation. We're going to be talking about harmony. What does it mean to be harmonious? What it means to be a balanced entity? Does it mean to really balance out your desires, your human desires, and also your higher self's desires? When you allow your higher self's desires and you allow to balance out all of your desires and allow them to be purified and to be exemplified within the realm of consciousness, you understand that everything can permeate and allow it to reciprocate itself, and you understand that we're here to balance out our human aspects and our higher selves aspects, and to really ask the question, what is worth my time? What is worth my energy? What is worth giving my power away to something, or causing a scene in a supermarket because someone was very rude to me and I didn't like it? But why would you have to make a scene? Why would you have to waste your energy and waste your time? So if you have impatience, use impatience to the best of your ability. If you have anxiety, you have to use anxiety to the best of your ability. You have to make it into your gifts. You have to make it into a new perspective. And you have to know that we're here to balance out and not change who we are, but allow our higher self and our human self to be balanced with one another and allow it to shift and to come into this cosmic abundance. And when you allow yourself to be a harmonious being, you allow everything to come into unity, and you allow everything to be perfected from that higher self's perspective, but also aligning it with your desires and your actions and following that breadcrumb trail of excitement that your higher self lays out for you. And you understand that when everything is laid out, when everything is put to the forefront of your consciousness, and you understand that everything can balance itself out by you changing your perspective, but also aligning your perspective with your personality traits, with your emotions, with the way that your body feels, and understand that the mind and the body and the spirit are coming back into this harmonious creation of energy. And when you are willing to be a balanced being, what you're doing is that if you have a desire, if you have something that you want to act on, if you have a sense of urgency and you have persistence and you have this seeking impulse that drives you, all of your human aspects and your human desires and your personality traits that make you who you are as an entity of the Oracle of Love, Light, and Wisdom, then your higher self will have its aspects and its personality and will have its desires. So when you allow the human desires and the metaphysical desires to come as one, then you don't feel like a chicken with its head cut off. And it was like this person was cutting my hair. She was very rude. She did a great job. And in that moment, I had to see her as source, even though she was being very rude to me. I had to see her as source, even though she wasn't very pleasant towards me. Maybe she was having a bad day. Maybe she wasn't at her best energetically. Maybe she was having a long day. And I just made the decision just to be quiet and to look at her as the source of all things, because you have to change your perspective by looking at everything as if it is God's source energy. You have to see everything as God. You have to see everything as the universe and the expansion. So I chose not to give my power away, and I chose not to say something or leave, because then I wouldn't have got a haircut and I wouldn't have went to another person who was probably just having a bad day. But it's just focusing your attention. What do you want your attention upon? And also your intention and your implementation of energy. So every time that you implement a new state of being, a new state of consciousness, you have to implement what comes there, and also with the action, and absolutely just not following a perspective or a resonance that makes you feel as if there are consequences in the way of it, or obstacles in the way of it, or that there's going to be suffering along the way of it, because you have to know that the universe has you in the palm of its hand, and that anything that can be created out of nothing. So when you allow your higher self's desires and your human desires to coalesce inside of one, you're allowing yourself to have a map of deliberately creating, but also you're just giving yourself an outline. You're allowing yourself to create space so that you can create differently. And also what you're doing is that you're imprinting your human aspect and your higher self's aspect and imprinting each other's consciousnesses as one. That means the mind, the body, and the spirit. So now that the higher self is in sync with you and you're in sync with the higher self, you're allowing yourself to be a unified, harmonious being of love and light. You're allowing yourself to flow with the energy instead of restrict the energy. And you're just doing what you absolutely want to do instead of something that you have to do or something that does not make you feel excited or happy or exuberant of source energy. Instead of doing that, why don't you do something that feels a little edgy, that feels a little risky, and also just know that a risk is always scary before you take it. That radical change, that spontaneous change in your life will always surprise you on what will happen after the fact. When you finally make, it's like swimming in colder water. Sometimes it's just taking the plunge itself. Sometimes it's just jumping into that water and knowing that it's not going to be as cold because your body's going to heat itself back up. So it's just not being afraid to try new things, not being afraid to want to create differently, not wanting to always do the same thing and expect a different result. Just know that we're not here to do the same thing over and over and over. That's insanity. So we can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So we have to keep going and keep persevering and pursuing it and being in the pursuit of the seeking impulse that drives us, because it's the question that allows us to have true philosophy. The philosophy of our life is that we question everything, that we question our state of being, that we question what we are, until the point where we accept what we are and work with what we have. Because in order to really align your vibration with yourself, you have to first accept yourself. And you have to live according to that divine self. And if you don't accept that, then you're not going to be able to necessarily control yourself. But you're going to feel like the car that's driving itself. You're going to feel as if the car is driving itself. It's one of those cars that automatically drives itself. And it feels as if you're on cruise control, but you're actually going 100 miles per hour. So how can you live life as if you're on cruise control to the point where you're going 100 miles an hour, but it doesn't feel like that? It actually feels easy. You have the cruise control on, and there's not too many things going on at once. And it can feel overwhelming at times, but if you just embrace it, if you just allow yourself to really be comfortable within the acceleration and the elevation of energy, and also the harmonious state of being, to where you know that you can follow through on something, you know that you have desire, and that you're not trying to change who you are, you're just trying to tweak some things out about yourself, in a sense. In spirituality, we focus too much on changing every single personality trait. We change the way we look, we change the way we dress. That's all well and good. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't completely lose yourself. Lose the non-resonant self. Lose the self that's costing you all the things in your life. Lose that self. And so allowing yourself to actually lose yourself in the moment of being that extraterrestrial state of being, that electromagnetic kinetic force energy, and allowing yourself to lose yourself in the moment and be the essence and not a reminiscence of a moment, because you're generating the moment, you're generating the appearances, you're generating the entire universe and the reality that you're trying to encompass yourself in. So allowing yourself to allow the energy to flow is just allowing yourself to know that you always have options, that you always have choices, that you always have opportunity. And this person asks, all you do is meditate. All I've seen you do is meditation. Your bio says medium stuff. I do have psychic readings, healings, appointments as well. You can book a private session with me and we can discuss pricing. I have a $50 special for 1 hour. So what I wanted to make sense with this message is that being harmonious means that all of your aspects of yourself, your shadow aspects of yourself, your personality traits, your emotions, your sense perceptions, are aligning to all the aspects of your higher self's perspective and states of being. So when you understand that nothing can take away from what you are. The only thing that can take away from what you are is you. The only thing that can make you feel stagnant is you. So when we get past the ego and the sense of self and the sense of me and the sense of materialization, and understand that it's just about going inside of ourselves and seeing ourselves as that source of creation, and we see ourselves in a different light, encompassed in a different light. We see ourselves encapsulating inside of this one speck of energy. And then there's another aspect in that speck of energy. And we're just putting the dots together, and we're trying to align that bullseye so that we're always hitting right on target, and that there's some precision to the way that we manifest, the way that we affirm, the way that we declare, the way that we journal, in a sense. So allow yourself to really reprogram your DNA, in a sense, reprogram your mind, reprogram your body, and step away and disassociate from the program that you've been subjected to, and understand that you can start a new program. You can start a new state of being. You can start a new life. You can start a new diet. You can start a new routine altogether. And it's just changing that one aspect in your reality. And then everything else has this domino effect, and everything else becomes love being a circle. And it will always come back around, and it will migrate into that unity, into that consciousness. And it will allow you to see that something can change very drastically if you just really follow your heart, really follow your desire, and also know that when you're able to stay within a meditative state, you're able to stay within grace and to live your life in a graceful way, and to also go about your day in a graceful way, and not give your power away to delusions and illusions and triggers and people, and just having really great patience. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad that you're an impatient person. There's nothing good or bad, nothing right or wrong. So if you're an impatient person, use that to the best of your ability. If you're a person that's very sensitive, it's okay. Be vulnerable, be sensitive, let go, and understand that that sensitivity will allow others to be healed and allow others to see you for who you are. We always think we have to change who we are, but it's really more about suppressing who we are and compressing who we are and restricting the flow of creation. So it's not changing what we are, but it's changing the dynamic of how we live our life, and knowing that we can change the paradigm at any given moment. You're the paradigm itself. So if you don't like the way the paradigm is going, you can visualize it going in a much different way. You can visualize it with a different routine, with a different set of people, with a different landscape, with a different view, with a different lens of perception. So when you allow yourself to see it from that lens of perception, and you see it with a very good perspective, and you just change the energy and understand that your energy is going to fluctuate throughout the day. You will always have fluctuations. You will feel like in a moment that you're going to snap, that you're going to get triggered. But then what if in that moment that your energy just fluctuated and you didn't, and you kind of held back, and you saw past the root cause of that? Like, why did I get triggered? Why did that really make me want to snap? Why did that make me angry? Why did that make me try to bring something out of myself? And sometimes you have to experience it and then get some healing over it. But sometimes all it just takes is just you being aware of it and being on top of it and being proactive towards it and saying, I love you, but go away. I don't need to be triggered like that. I don't need to give my power away. I don't need to stoop to that level. So to remain in a high frequency and a high level, you have to remain in that frequency. You have to stay within that level. You have to stay within that elevation of energy. You have to stay there and remain there. And even if you step out of it for a second, you can snap right back into it. So it's almost like going about your life in a trance-like state, but it's a meditative state that you're going about your life, and it's a graceful way that you're going about your life, because you want to emulate from your aura that people want to be joyous, peaceful around you, calm, and they want to feel unconditional love. Because most of the time in life, we don't really care how people are receiving from us or that people are getting that vibe from us. And we just go on with our projections, and we're throwing energy there and we're throwing energy over here. And it's just, now we're like in our own dome and we're in our own bubble of protection instead of being in our own way, in our own bubble, and being in our comfort zone. We're maintaining the stretching zone. So you're allowing yourself to be in a protected space of that electromagnetic kinetic source energy. So in a sense, you are protected. There's angelic fire around you, in a sense. Like, this is psychic protection. Because now you've upped your frequency and you've upped your vibration. And now everywhere you go, just because someone else is going at life in that way, in that negative way, in that service of self way, does not mean you have to go about your life in that way, from that negative perspective, from that way that you're not aligning your vibration. So when you allow yourself to not subject yourself to the subject to object relationships, or the delusions, or the triggers, or the things that cost you everything, don't give your power away to that way of living, because it will always make you feel so much better if you go at it from a different perspective. Because we can't be limited in our thinking and vibrate abundance. And we have to feel as if we always are that victory, that expansion. And now I'm not just saying that it's always going to be rainbows and butterflies, and that a lot of people, if they hear me say this, they're like, oh, you just think it's always going to be rainbows and butterflies. Yes, you're going to have your days. Yes, you're going to have your fluctuations. Yes, you're going to have periods of integration. But they will be few and far between, and they'll just maybe be a day instead of being a reoccurring thing that happens all the time. And you dwell within your shadow work, and you're not able to get past this certain thing. And then now you're being the continuation of creation. You're being creation itself, and you're just existing and emulating that example and that divine expression of Source. You're allowing yourself to go with your heart. You're allowing yourself to go with your sensitivity, your vulnerability. It's like, now I embrace my sensitivity. I don't ever suppress when I need to have a good cry, or if I'm watching a movie and that it brings something out of me. I don't suppress my sensitivity. I used to, because I used to be really masculine. And I think most men are, but I was actually more of a feminine male. But I had to learn that because I was too enmeshed with my masculinity, in a sense. So it's like some women can be very masculine too. Some men can be very feminine too, and realize it and tap more back into it. But it's more of a balancing effect of that masculine and that feminine qualities of yourself to try to balance out your desires and your harmony and what you really want out of your life, and how you want your life to be a living representation of what God is reflecting back to itself as the mirror state of consciousness. So when you're reflecting back that mirror state of consciousness, and you're generating that sense of representation, that sense of resonance, that sense of charge, and you're generating a much different cause and effect. So you're generating so many different illusions, but those illusions are more in sync with who you are, more in sync with your vibration, more in sync with the calling, that you're in sync with the mission and the assignment that is here. So we allow ourselves to change, but we're not changing everything about ourselves. We're just coming more into harmony with our resonance, with our charge, with our ideas that we can bring to this universe, so that it can generate a sense of well-being, a sense of healing, a sense of community. And also, all it takes is just one thought. All it takes is just one idea. All it takes is one type of alignment and leadership to really help bring so much change about this universe. So I feel like I got the message across, but we're going to do a meditation. So if you would like to stay tuned for the meditation, that's going to take place. If not, that's okay too. But with this meditation, I want you to allow the flow of energy, and I also want you to be breathing at your own pace, and also when I breathe in and out, you can do it as well. But if you want to breathe at your own pace, if you want to focus on an object, if you want to lay down, or anything like that, I don't ever want people to think that they have to meditate a certain way, because you don't have to meditate a certain way. The other day I was standing and meditating. The other day I was laying down and meditating. So any way that makes you feel comfortable with yourself, that makes you feel comfortable with meditation, go with the flow and go with the energy. Go where the energy takes you. So, okay. So, take a deep breath, everybody. Exhale. And for the first time, I don't want you to demonize your shadow aspects. I don't want you to demonize your personality traits that you don't really like. I don't want you to demonize your imbalances within yourself. Because all of those imbalances, all of those distortions, all of those negative aspects of ourselves allow us to reinforce it with positive reinforcement, and allows us to empower ourselves, and allows us to see through the illusion itself, to see through the root cause of all suffering. And we embrace healing finally for the first time, because we're all here to heal our distortions and our illusions and our shadow aspects, to come back with our light aspects, which the masculine and the feminine coming into balance and balancing each other out. So I want you to see it as growth. I want you to see it as fertility. I want you to see it as a way that you can really up the frequency, up the ante, also follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement, knowing that the seeking impulse will never fail you, and that I want you to see yourself in a new light, in a new vibration, in a new state of being. Take a deep breath. Exhale. When we generate different representation of energy, we're generating allowance. And when we allow ourselves to flow with the energy, and we don't restrict our desires that are from our higher self, that are from our human aspects, and we allow ourselves to generate a map of deliberate creating, and we're creating space so that we can create differently. So when we allow ourselves to create differently, when we allow ourselves to subtract things out of our life, we allow ourselves to add things in our life. So, and then we start to implement the energy, implement the new state of being. And then we have something to intend upon. We have a newfound intention that is generating a breadcrumb trail of excitement. Some of you are probably wondering, what is the breadcrumb trail of excitement? Well, the breadcrumb trail of excitement is signs, confirmation, miracles, and ways of generating abundance by following the seeking impulse, by following a certain action. Like just changing your shirt can generate a new found reality. It's something very simple. You quitting your job could set off this whole domino effect. Because you know what you want, you know what your heart desires, and you know how to align yourself to the mind, the body, and the spirit. So everybody take a deep breath. So you're allowing yourself to see within that deep water horizon. You're allowing yourself to give yourself an outline of energy. You're able to put that outline within your vortex, and you're able to create, to implement, to add whatever you want in that vortex. And whatever you don't want, in a sense, you can put it in a ball of energy. And you can send it back to the sun. So anything that you don't want, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be losing 20 pounds, if you will. It could be quitting my job. It could be getting that new truck that I really want, that new car I really want. All of your worries, all of the frustration, all of the negativity, whatever it may be, maybe it's just I want healing. Put it in that ball of energy and send it back to the sun. Whatever it is, any toxicities, put it into that ball of energy and send it back to the sun. And then guess what? Now you've let go of any worry. You're letting the divine help you and guide you and nurture you throughout all of your troubles, all of your challenges, and to eliminate putting obstacles in the way of what you want to create. This is what allows receiving. This allows you to receive energy. This allows you to receive in greater ways and to allow the flow of abundance to happen in your life. Because you're empowering life itself. And the world at large is you. Because you need to be in your own world, in a sense, your own universe, your own galaxy, your own realm, in a sense. Everybody take a deep breath. Exhale. But you are not a concept. We can generate different explanations, a sense of direction, but just know that you are not a concept, but you are energy. You are prophetic energy. You are that electromagnetic kinetic source energy. And the wires may have been crossed for a long time for you, but now the wires are in sync, everything is plugged in, and now that we all can be interconnected with this universe. And now we can be focused on our alignment and empowering that alignment, and to really embrace self-remembrance and self-discovery. Now you can generate a sense of order within your life. Also, you don't have a ceiling. You don't plateau. But you are the continuous, omnipresent nature of the Oracle of Love, Light, and Wisdom. Take one last deep breath. Exhale. When I snap my fingers, you'll come back to. You'll have a greater sense of clarity. You will know who you are, and you'll become the Oracle of Love, Light, and Wisdom, which is God manifested in the human body. And so it is. I hope you guys enjoyed that meditation. I hope it really blessed you. I hope it put a lot of things in perspective for all of you, and just how we interact with our higher self, and also allowing our human aspects to come in balance with who we are, and not suppressing our desires, and allowing them to be out in the open, and to know that we're generating and emulating that abundance. So know that you're the abundance, you're the wealth, you are the health that you are seeking. And all we're doing is just tweaking the little things within our own human body. And I don't think it helps us to change about everything that we are. It's just tweaking a few things to be in sync with our higher self. So thank you guys for tuning in. Also, I'd like to remind you that I do have a $50 special for 1 hour for psychic readings, healings, activations, and Akashic records, anything that you want, anything that you desire. So you can book a private session with me and things of that nature. So I want to thank you guys once again for tuning in and watching. And I have a YouTube channel as well, White Wolf the Oracle, Love, Light, and Wisdom, BitChute, White Wolf the Oracle 23 _ Instagram, White Wolf 4741. And that's where you can get free additional content if you don't have the funds to do that. So you can get free content and free meditations and watch them anytime, anywhere, with anybody. So thank you so much. God bless, and namaste.